You have clicked the Pixel Record podcast, programmed by KanOfSoda. Sit back, chillax, and enjoy the show.
Hello guys, KanOfSoda. Welcome back to another podcast of Pixel Record, episode 17. Yes, it is. And I know I haven't posted another podcast in like 2 weeks. I guess I was just busy. I had midterms. I want to or maybe just take a break, if you get what I'm saying, from doing the podcast in general. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but I mean, it's always good to take a break every once in a while. And I don't know why, for some reason, when I said this reminded me of how Exploring TNT is taking a break right now. So basically, to give you some context, Exploring TNT, he's this Minecraft YouTuber who makes these really funny Minecraft machinimas. It's basically what Minecraft machinimas are videos of stories made in Minecraft. It's not like Minimator. Minimator is made completely of animation. It's where you just have the characters act out in the scene within Minecraft itself. It's pretty cool. Exploring TNT is one of my favorite Minecraft machinima YouTubers. I've been watching him since like 2015, so I was like 14 since middle school. That's pretty crazy. And what's so crazy is last year, well over a year ago, he did a voice reveal because he's never revealed his face. He promises at 5 mil he'll do a voice reveal, which he did, and it's pretty crazy since he has never shown his face. And he says at 10 mil he will do a face reveal. So he's actually taking a break right now since he's actually been doing YouTube for like 9 years now, since May 2011. And as Ashley would say, that's pretty wild, right? I don't know, I just want to talk about him because I know recently he posted a tweet that was like, I'm not quitting YouTube, I'm just gonna go back whenever I feel like it. He's currently taking a break right now. He's been on the break since earlier this year. And a lot of people have pointed out for fun that a lot of things have gone downhill since Exploring TNT left YouTube, you know, with all the crazy stuff going on in the world right now. And that just reminded me of how this one YouTuber tweeted, "The world has gone downhill ever since Rise of Skywalker came out." And to be honest, he's not wrong, because after Rise of Skywalker came out, a lot of shit broke out in the fandom. When John Boyega posted that tweet of how he didn't like the Star Wars romance between Rey and Kylo. And it was so funny how he was roasting the Reylos, but it was really frustrating how the Reylos were getting mad at him. And I'm like, he has an opinion. Let him do what he wants, okay? I know when I first watched Rise of Skywalker, I really enjoyed it. But now, since it's over, I really don't like it at all. It's probably the only movie that I really dislike. It's like, I have no idea how they managed to screw it up so badly with the writing and stuff. It's like they brought in Palpatine right at the last moment, killed off Ben. They didn't give Finn, Poe, and Rose the screen time they deserved. It's crazy. And why kill off Ben? Because he's literally the Skywalker of the series. The last Skywalker. In fact, you know what? Now I think about it, Rise of Skywalker is ironic. It should be called the Fall of Skywalker. But since they didn't want to spoil Ben's death, they call it Rise. And I'm sure in this case they're probably referring to Rey, who is the imposter Skywalker among them. Ha ha ha, you get it? Also, what's so funny is Palpatine was the imposter, during the prequels in the Senate. Wait, why am I saying in the Senate? Because he is the Senate, am I right? Haha, you see what I did there? I'll be honest with you, I thought Force Awakens was pretty awesome. It was very hyped. It was really exciting for me when I first watched it in theaters back in 2015. And even though I was already accidentally spoiled on Han Solo's death because someone said in the YouTube comments, I still enjoyed it. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of Star Wars before I watched it, but after watching Force Awakens, I became a much bigger fan. I already seen the Star Wars movies prior to watching Force Awakens. It's just I didn't watch them as much as I do now. And I read this article recently that John Boyega said that his castmates, Oscar Isaac, Daisy Ridley, and Kelly Marie Tran, they were very supportive of him outspeaking against the fact that Disney really did him dirty. For context, even though some of you probably already know, John Boyega's character Finn, he was really hyped in the first movie. He was holding Anakin's lightsaber. He was on the posters. He was really, he was really advertised to be an awesome, epic character. And even then, I already knew that Finn was Force sensitive. And I really wanted him to become a Jedi so badly. But they really pushed him aside. And not just him, but also Poe and Rose, especially Rose, since people really hated on her so badly. That was insane. And they were all pushed aside for Rey and Kylo. Also, bringing back Palpatine was pretty cheap. I do remember when I first saw the trailer for Rise of Skywalker, and when Palpatine laughed at the end, I was like, wait a minute, Palpatine? Oh, I thought he died in Return of the Jedi. No, what? Everyone's gonna be mad about this. And honestly, I was super surprised to see everyone was super hyped to see Palpatine come back, because I was expecting them to be like, this is bad, Palpatine should stay dead. And now, since the Rise of Skywalker screwed up very badly, now people are saying this is bad and cheap, Palpatine should stay dead. And what I was also concerned is how in Rise of Skywalker they went to that ocean-ish planet, and there was the second Death Star ruins in the ocean. I was really confused as well, because didn't the second Death Star explode in Return of the Jedi? And when it exploded, it's gone forever. Although it was cool with the nostalgia trip and everything, I feel like it was just there for nostalgia and fan service, now that I think about it. And I would like to go back to the bringing Palpatine back. It's really weird, he should have stayed dead. And even the actor, I don't want to butcher his name, but Ian McDiarmid, I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong. I know the actor, he said George Lucas straight up told him that Palpatine is dead in Return of the Jedi after. And George Lucas would not have him return. I do know Palpatine was resurrected multiple times in the comics by clones. Which is exactly, the comics, is like the expanded universe, the other alternate timeline. The legends that, were not Disney. It was the alternative universe, the alternate timeline where Luke brings back the Jedi Order. Leia and Han actually have 3 kids, and Luke has 1 kid named Ben. And that was all removed when Disney bought Star Wars and they created their own alternate future. Anyway, I want to go back to the Palpatine thing. My bad for slipping off. I do that sometimes. I do think Palpatine should have stayed dead, though. It was kind of cheap to bring him back. Why not use another villain? Why not make Kylo the main villain, since he became the supreme leader after he killed Snoke, so it would have made more sense to make him the villain, but of course he would be turned to the light side again. When it comes to resurrecting dead characters, I am only okay with it if the character didn't get enough screen time or they were wasted, for example, Vision from Marvel and Steve Trevor. I'm completely fine with them returning back, because they didn't really have enough screen time, and especially Vision. However, there are characters who have such a good arc that they should stay dead. And they have a really good ending that it would not be great to bring them back. In this case, Palpatine and also Tony Stark. Definitely Tony Stark. It was crazy. People were like, I'm so sad that Tony died. I want him to return. And Black Widow as well. Okay, I get it, but Iron Man and Black Widow, they both had really good endings, and plus, they've been in 8-ish, 10-ish movies? It's time for them to have their break and let the other Marvel characters have their chance to shine as well. Because there are a lot of other Marvel characters who deserve a chance to shine, and Iron Man and Black Widow, they've already had their moments. And also Captain America. I know he's not dead, but he's no longer young. He went back to live the rest of his life with Peggy. And at first, I was not okay with it, but now I completely don't mind. I mean, I guess Captain America deserves a break. And besides, we got Sam as the new Captain America, so that'll be cool to see, right? Also, something I want to see from Sam, aka Falcon, is, okay, so in the comics, his wings, they were actual natural wings that he got from, like, magic, I think. But in the movies, they're mechanic add-ons. So what I'd like to see, maybe in the Falcon or Winter Soldier, is maybe Sam eventually, maybe he gets to a point where he can't use the mechanical wings anymore. I know he can just make new ones, but I think it'd be cool if somehow he got a pair of natural wings. That'd be super cool to see. Because I like the natural wings better, to be honest. I've never read the comics, like never ever, but I've read a lot of stuff that was in the comics from the wikis and stuff. So I'd like to see that. I don't know, I was thinking about this Palpatine resurrection unnecessary thing because of kind of recently when James Gunn he was talking on Twitter about how people get angry that he killed off Yondu. So on Twitter today, maybe yesterday, someone's like, but yet, you have a lot of angry fans if you kill off popular characters. And then, James Gunn replied with, there are angry fans no matter what choice you make. I still get hate messages from Yondu dying in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Bolty and Super, yet their deaths were integral to the stories. And for the record, I get a lot more messages from folks saying how deeply those deaths affected them. And two people in replies, they were talking to each other. One person said, it would happen with any fans in general, but shouldn't matter. If a character does die in a meaningful purpose, then it is necessary to kill them off for their story arc and to end and bring emotional stakes. Someone else with a Joker profile picture replied, exactly, like Tony and Yondu, they died doing what was right, that they felt was right. So what if one of the main characters do? It's called the Suicide Squad for a reason. And there'll be characters you don't want to see, but all good things come to an end. Someone else, the same person, replied back, absolutely, they all have the purpose to be killed for a strong reason. I think this is about people guessing who will die in Suicide Squad. I'm pretty sure Harley will survive. I'm hoping she does. Because, she's got a big arc ahead of her after her breakup from Birds of Prey. Someone else replied, clearly those are not comic book readers, as we all know Yondu will not stay dead. James Gunn replied with, I guess sometimes you can bring back characters in a cool way, but usually if a character dies and it's a meaningful part of the story, the character should stay dead. So unless it's a flashback, Yondu will stay dead, as far as I'm concerned. Otherwise, it ruins his sacrifice. And about this, I seriously wonder what he's going to do about how he reacted to Gamora's death and the fact that she was brought back. But, she didn't have a sacrificial death, she was just thrown off the cliff. But, yeah, that's different. I don't know why I brought it up. Anyway, this made me think of how, in Minecraft Story Mode, the pig Ruben died by saving the world. And, since Minecraft Story Mode has a fan base of little kids, at the time when Ruben was killed off, it was like late 2015, everyone's like, oh no, I'm so sad Ruben died, please bring him back, Telltale has to bring him back, or screw them so much. I'm like, wow, guys, chill out, oh my god. I get that you like Ruben, but why would you want to bring him back? That would completely ruin the emotional stakes in story. No. I'm so glad Telltale never brought him back, because that would have been cheap, bad writing. And it probably won't matter anyway, since Telltale is dead, and the new company that supposedly revived Telltale, LCG Entertainment, they do not have the rights to make or distribute Minecraft Story Mode. Since by now, it's all... the rights to Minecraft Story Mode is probably all lost. I'm not sure who owns it. It could be Netflix, Microsoft, Mojang. I seriously don't know. But, oh well. It really annoyed me how even though the website clearly stated, the official Telltale website, they clearly stated that LCG does not have the rights to own Minecraft Story Mode, people still believed Season 3 was going to happen. It had 2 seasons, but Season 2, it flopped horribly, which is, I think it's why Telltale lost a lot of money and went bankrupt. Yet people still believed that there was going to be a Season 3, and I'm like, why not just go to Wattpad, write your own story, or read any other Season 3s that someone has already created, or go to YouTube. I'm pretty sure I know there are people who have made Minimator animations of Season 3. I know this one girl called Blue Girl Awesome did so, but people have said that allegedly she stole animations and stuff, animation rigs, and that's what it's called, and she was like, I'm better than everyone. I don't mean to throw shade, sorry, but that's what I heard in a Discord server once. But as I said before, it's alleged that she passed it off as her own, like the animations and stuff, and then rechanged some stuff to make it story mode. Also, there's this guy in the Minecraft Story Mode Discord server. His name is My Name's Wyatt, and lately he's been talking about his ideas on his Minecraft Story Mode Season 3 animation. I'm looking on his YouTube channel right now, and it looks he's basically a Minecraft animator. He's got 50 subscribers. You guys should maybe check him out sometime. I haven't watched any of his videos, but he is a rising animator. I do plan to be an animator as well. I'm doing Minecraft, my animator right now. I haven't been doing much, but I will get there someday. I do want to make my own Season 3 as well. But someday, of course. Okay, so I don't mean to throw shade or anything. I'm just stating my opinion. I'm not trying to offend anyone when I say this, but most of Season 3 ideas and stuff I have seen in the fandom, it's like, fan-made Season 3s and stuff, to me it just feels unoriginal and cliche for some reason to me. For example, sometimes they include Steve, Alex, and sometimes the main villain as Herobrine. I'm sure everyone on this planet knows who they are at this point. I really don't like it when people add Steve, Alex, or Herobrine to Minecraft Story Mode fanfics because, I don't know, it just seems very unoriginal. Especially Herobrine, because they've been used, millions of times already? More than a million times. Which is the reason why Telltale never used Steve, Alex, or Herobrine in the story. They came up with their own original main characters, own original villains that fit the Minecraft world, which I think it's a whole lot more creative because you can mess around them however you want. While as with Steve, Alex, and Herobrine, it doesn't seem much to it. It feels bland. Especially Herobrine, he feels like a blind villain. He just stands there, creeps you out in the middle of the night, makes stuff disappear. Just no. And I know I may sound super strict and harsh when I say this, but it's true. As I said, it's been used millions of times already. It's always best to come up with original stuff, because I said before, you have the freedom to mess around them with however you want. As long as you don't make them like OP Mary Sue's or anything like that, if you get what I mean. I know one time I was in a Discord group chat, people who want to make a fan-made Season 3. It was dedicated to making Season 3, and we were talking about ideas of the plots and whatnot, and I know they want to bring back some villains from the previous episodes, like Palma, Cassie, Hadrian, and Mevia. Just bring them back, and their motivation is just, they just want to go after Jesse and kill them. And I get that Hadrian and Mevia were probably bland villains, but I mean, I don't know, it just seems like a very cliche, classic villain. What I mean by classic villain is villains who are just there to just destroy everything. They hate everything. They want to kill the main character. They just have no motivation. They just want to destroy everything. I mean, come on. Have you ever really met a bad person who just hated everything, that they want to destroy everything? I mean, come on. Come up with something better, guys. Which is why I like villains like Cassie and Aiden in the Minecraft story mode case, where they're not completely bad. They have a bit of good in them. There may be tragic characters who went through a lot, but then they turned to the bad side, if you get what I mean. And I'm sure we've seen villains like that across media, like Killmonger, Arthur Fleck, Grindelwald, Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming, and they could go on. I really like those kind of villains, those who have a bit of good in them, even though their intentions are not good. I always thought that Aiden and Cassie were interesting villains, though. I believe if Minecraft Story Mode Season 3 did end up happening, I would have loved to see Aiden return. Not just because of the last scene where Radar mentioned them, but it's also because I think Aiden's interesting. I just really wish we got to explore him more often. But the power of fanfiction can make that possible. But yeah, Minecraft Story Mode, the fandom is very creative. That's what I really like about it. Since Minecraft itself, it's very vast, especially since after Minecraft Story Mode ended, a lot of updates have really improved the game ever since, especially with the update that came last year, and this new insane cave update I'm super hyped about. And another update, that was awesome. I guess Minecraft Story Mode wasn't popular at the time because it came out at a really bad time, because at the time Minecraft Story Mode wasn't as popular as it is today. It came out in the range of 2015 and 17, and that was the era when people just hated Minecraft for no reason. And now, since 2019, people love Minecraft, which is insane. It's wild how much time has passed since then, how much Minecraft's changed, and not only that, but the Minecraft community. Now we have the Minecraft YouTuber Dream. I feel like if Minecraft Story Mode came back today, I feel like they would put Dream in an episode, or his friend George. That would be so cool. Since they put YouTubers in the game, which I thought was really cool. Oh my god, imagine if they added Mr. Beast as well. That would be pretty awesome. But yeah, the Minecraft Story Mode fandom is super creative, as I said before. I really like it so much. I guess through there is when I got a whole lot more interested in writing, which is why I want to be a filmmaker. It's really awesome. There's infinite possibilities. Okay, there's one thing I want to talk about. So since there are multiple Jessie options you can choose from, I know that both male and female, the two main options people choose is the white male Jessie with the white shirt and red suspenders. There's also the white female Jessie. By the way, white male Jessie has the dark brown hair, and then the female Jessie has the black hair, red shirt, and blue overalls. And people like to headcanon them as brother and sister or twins, which I think is super interesting. I do remember back when Minecraft Story Mode first came out in 2015, there weren't a lot of characters at the time. I mean, there was the Order Stone, the Ocelots, and Jessie's gang, but there wasn't much at the time. So since there were 6 Jessie options at the time, I liked to pretend that they are their own separate characters with different names and such. I know for white female Jessie, I named her Taylor, and the white male Jessie is just Jessie. The light-skinned femme Jessie is Sophie. The light-skinned male Jessie is Cameron. The black male Jessie is Kevin, and the dark female Jessie is Jen. I thought that was pretty cool, how I came up with that stuff. And even though it's not canon, they're all their own Jessies in their own separate universes with their own choices, I still found it interesting. Especially the Jessie twin narrative. Although, there was one person who did not like it. I know someone posted on it on the Minecraft Story Mode Confessions account. I took a screenshot of it because it got taken down, but let me read it. Okay, so I have the screenshot pull up on my phone right here. It says, I've had enough of his fandom. Why do people keep viewing male Jesse and female Jesse as twins or bro and sis? They're not. They are the same damn person, but just look and sound different in a different timeline. Male Jesse and female Jesse will not meet ever, so drop this twin or sibling narrative now. They didn't really say now, but I'm sick of it. I think it's gone way over the top now. I get why you like it, it's appealing. But it's become this canon narrative which is beyond silly now. And female Jesse with the black hair and yellow clip is also not Issa's daughter, which I agree with. I don't like the headcanon that Issa is their mom. It's way too Star Wars-y. Anyway. And the Jesse twins can also be incest or even ship. They're the same person who will never meet. Okay, I have more. Someone pointed out that the Jesse twins exist so people can ship Jetra and Lucasy. I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. Lucasy at the same time. Funny, cause when there is Jesse twins, not once have I seen male Jesse and Lucas, female Jesse and Petra. Jesse twins look like a straight narrative to me. That right there is completely understandable because people always ship male Jesse with Petra or female Jesse with Lucas. Kind of rarely have I seen the gay versions of the ship, and heteronormativity is a problem in this fandom, because I mean, LGBT ships are as normal as hetero ships. Why can't they just coexist together? Love is love no matter what, right? It doesn't matter, as long as you're happy. Anyway, let's continue. I can find little to no fan art and no fanfics at all for it, showing off anything else other than straightness. I don't mean it in a nasty way, but I legit can't find any ships on straight when it comes to Jesse twins. It just seems not representative of people who aren't straight if all Jesse twins concepts are straight. Oh, and I hate that they changed Jessie to Jessica for female Jessie. I get why, but Jessie is gender neutral, and Jessie is Jessie. It would be weird twins having the same name, but people are the ones who made it char after character into two people. So I just changed Jessie's name like it's nothing. Okay, the last part where they were talking about changing female Jessie's name to Jessica is weird. Yeah, it's pretty weird when people do that. That's why I changed, in my head, I changed female Jessie's name to Taylor, just to separate them. And on some parts I agree, but for the first slide, they were like, God, I hate this so much. Therefore, you guys should stop doing it too. Stop enjoying yourselves. Oh my God. I'm like, whoa, chill out, Karen. And by the way, I don't mean any disrespect to the person who sent this confession. I'm sure you're a nice person in real life. But we all have different opinions. And we all react to said opinions differently. But this one is just straight up, I hate this so much. Therefore, you should stop it too. Oh my God. And I think it's pretty dumb. Cause, I mean, come on. It's just a fictional franchise. Freaking Minecraft. Why should it affect you? I mean, and besides, it's just fan fiction. People are allowed to have whatever headcanons they want. It's not like hurting them or anything. And I know it's not canon, but as I said before, Minecraft Story Mode is such a creative franchise. I've seen lots of headcanons coming from that, lots of fanfics. Cause the universe, it kind of feels very unexplored, if you get what I'm saying. So fanfics, they pretty much expand on their world. And the writer of the series, Eric Sturp, he said on Twitter, or Tumblr I believe, that story mode is super creative. He pretty much allows us to create whatever headcanons we want with it, especially since Minecraft story mode is no longer in continuity. I mean, come on, it's no big deal. People are allowed to have their fun. If you don't like it, that's cool of you. Just don't ruin the fun for others. They just sound pretty rude in that confession. And a lot of people in the comment section are pretty angry about it, which honestly I can't really blame them. Because I mean, at the end of the day, as I said, it's just fan fiction. And as I said before, it later got taken down. I'm not really kind of surprised about it. And as I said, luckily I got a screenshot of it, so I can just, I don't know. Look at how ridiculous it sounded. Also, I love how on the first slide of that thing, I sounded super sassy about it, because, I mean, they were pretty aggressive about it, to be honest. I mean, to be honest, even though that person was really rude and aggressive, and probably a Karen, at least this hate is not as bad as in the bigger franchises like Marvel and Star Wars, which are really insane. I've talked about it in past podcasts, and I'm sure you guys have heard about that kind of stuff as well. I don't feel like getting into it right now, so. However, one thing I really want to talk about is the DC Extended Universe, or, DC Cinematic Universe. Kind of like the MCU, but with DC. Last year or so, maybe well over a year or two ago, I used to be a huge fan of Marvel, mainly the MCU, and I was one of those people who jumped on the DC hate wagon for no reason. I don't know, but now I love DC, and I know it has like 7 movies. We don't count Justice League. While the MCU has like 23 movies within 10 years. I get that, but I mean, I'll only give you my personal opinion. I somehow enjoy the DCEU, a whole lot more than the MCU, even with all its span of 10 years of lots and lots of movies. I don't know, it just feels like that the DCEU has a whole lot more going on when it comes to characters, the big variety of the universe, of the world they live in. What I'm saying is that DC, it feels like it has a whole lot more variety than Marvel, since all the Marvel movies are produced by Ken Feige. I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. Since all the Marvel movies have been produced by him, it's like they kind of have the same similar, well, maybe palette, I guess. Well, except for Phase 3, because they had their own colors and stuff, especially Thor Ragnarok. That was insane! But what I mean by variety for DC is that with all these different directors, each one of them has their kind of like tone to the story. For example, Zack Snyder, who directed Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Justice League, which is going to come out in 2021. It deals with real life issues. It's got a kind of a film noir palette, and it's very complex, very good quotes, very relatable heroes, especially Superman. And then there's Suicide Squad, which is also, well, the real version is dark, but then the one we got in theaters, it's had, like, I don't know, maybe a SoundCloud rapper vibe to it, with its insane outfits, the way the characters talk to each other, especially Will Smith and Rick. Like, they really put some really good effort into costume design. They're very creative. I really like the costumes. And then there's Patty Jenkins in the Wonder Woman movies. Even though the 2 Wonder Woman movies have completely different aesthetics, the first one was in World War I, the second one is in the really colorful 80s. I know like for 2 of them, for both of them. No, for the first one, it had the beautiful Amazon vibe. It also had the World War I vibe. And I know you're gonna argue with me, since Captain America First Avenger also had the old vintage war vibe, since they both take place in the World Wars, one of the World Wars. But I mean, that one had its own aesthetic vibe to it too. And then, of course, there's 84 with the bursting colors of the 80s. And then there's Aquaman with its bright, colorful blues, this shining armor, and out in the sea. And then there's Shazam. It's very simple, but it explores a story about kids who live in this insane universe with people who fly everywhere with their capes and swords and stuff. It's got the cheery kid vibe, you know? But it's still an interesting and dark story. I know in this one behind the scenes video, David F. Sandberg, the guy who directed it, he said he likes to go with both a comedy and horror vibe. I know he also directed Annabelle, which is a horror movie, so he said he likes to put comedy and horror. So you can tell in Shazam there are some horror elements. And then you go to Birds of Prey, which is a burst of pastel colors, exploring the lighter side of Gotham, which I think is interesting because I know in the Birds of Prey behind the scenes video, the people who are making the film were like, in most Batman movies and such, and shows, adaptation stuff, Gotham is always seen as a dark and gritty place. It's always dark with all these criminals around. So in Birds of Prey, we decide to explore the good, the brighter side of it. Which is interesting since they're diving deep into Gotham City life. It's really interesting. You want to explore more than just the bad Joker stuff that goes on. And then there's the Suicide Squad, which just has a lot of action. It's a graphic novel brought to life as quoted. It's a war movie. And even though Black Adam hasn't come out yet, I'm not sure it will take place in the ancient times or the modern day. But if the first half takes place back in the ancient times when Black Adam rose to power, then it'll have the ancient world vibe. You know, in the ancient Middle East and Egypt and stuff, because that's around the place where Black Adam first originated. And yeah, there you have it. I just like all this variety and tones in the movies of DC. And I know we had the different variations in Marvel, like with Thor, hit the Asgard Norse stuff, and then there's Captain America, gritty spy, and then there's Iron Man, dealing with political issues and stuff as a businessman. And then there's Ant-Man as a civilian and a criminal turned superhero. And then there's Spider-Man, a teenager living in this insane world. And then there's Guardians of the Galaxy with their sci-fi stuff. But even with that, I don't know, it just feels like DC is more variant than Marvel. I guess in terms I don't know, the tone of the movie, I guess. I don't know the best way to put it. I'm just wording the best I can, you know. But what I find weird is that even though Marvel has so much movies, and even though I've watched them several times, I can watch DC loads of times and I never get bored. Like, I watched Shazam a lot this year. I actually watched it in January 2020, maybe late. I didn't watch in theaters. I wanted to, but I guess I didn't really feel like it, maybe. I don't know. And then when I got around to watching it, I enjoyed it. And for some reason, for the Marvel movies, even if I started watching DC, I've stopped watching the Marvel movies. I don't know, it just kind of bores me now. And I know they have a whole lot of movies, but still. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do not hate Marvel. Now that I like DC a whole lot more. I still love Marvel. And I watch Marvel movies from time to time when I'm bored. And there are a lot of good stuff in Marvel that I love. I just prefer DC better. But that's just me. If you prefer differently, then that's completely fine. I just like both Marvel and DC perfectly fine. It's just the competition is unnecessary. Even the cast members of Marvel and DC are on good terms with each other. I think it was earlier this year, Brie Larson and Gal Gadot, they took a selfie with each other like friends, which is pretty cool. I now know Kevin Feige visited the set of the Suicide Squad, James Gunn's movie, and he had a good time on set. Oh, and let's not also forget the two Captain Marvels, Brie Larson and Zachary Levi. They get along pretty well. And even Zachary Levi, whose Captain Marvel was the original Captain Marvel, he actually told people to stop hating on Brie Larson, which is really awesome. It's really great to have him stand by her. For quick context, Shazam, the character, was created back in the very late 30s, but his original superhero name was Captain Marvel. And I believe somewhere along the lines, the comic book company DC, I think they just stopped using him on the title at one point, and then after that, Marvel created their Captain Marvel, which, by the way, is very similar to Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl, if you notice. I mean, they both have blonde hair, they both fly around, they both come from different planets. The last part of the name ends with L, and their last name is Danvers. One is named Carol, the other is Kara. Well, in the comics, Captain Marvel was from Kree, but in the movie, she's from Earth, but she was manipulated by a Kree to become a Kree soldier. But anyway, I think it was like in 2011, there was some kind of copyright dispute between DC and Marvel over the name Captain Marvel, and in the end, Marvel was the ones who claimed the Captain Marvel name. And it really upsets me that happened, because now his main title is Shazam, and Shazam is the name he uses to switch between his kid form and his adult form. So, what's his superhero name supposed to be? Like Captain Sparklefingers, that's funny. But yeah, I really wish that DC still used the name Captain Marvel for him, because Marvel could have used something else. And that was like maybe a name wasted for DC, because now they have to use Shazam, which, as I said before, is the name he uses to switch between his two forms. Though back to Marvel, what I really don't like about how Marvel has impacted society is a lot of things on how you should make a franchise and stuff. I do remember someone on Twitter said something like, if Lord of the Rings and the Dark Knight trilogy came out after 2008, then people would have complained about how it was too dark and they didn't have solo movies, there was no comedy, blah blah blah. And what does Marvel have? Lots of solo movies. Lots of comedy, definitely. And it's dumb because people use these to judge other movies, whether they're CBMs or not. And especially for judging DC. And I guess I'm mostly talking about the fans in this case. As I said before, I like the movies. And about MCU, since MCU has so many movies, there are people who act very spoiled to the DC Extended Universe. I get that there's like not much movies, but I mean, there's no need to brag. Have a little sympathy for us, okay? Because, okay, MCU fans also argue that the DCEU didn't start with solo movies about Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, etc. And that they jumped into assembly movies like Batman vs. Superman, Suicide Squad, and Justice League pretty fast. And I completely get it, since, the MCU, they start off pretty slow to introduce the characters, who they are, and then having them all come together in the assembly movie like they did with Marvel. I totally get that, but first of all, you can't compare a 23 movie complete franchise to a 7 movie franchise that used to be controlled by the wrong people. Because, back then it was created by I can't see Jeff Johns and Joss Whedon, who, by the way, butchered Zack's original movie and created it into the monstrosity Justice League movie we got in 2017. And also, Zack Snyder originally intended to be a 5-movie arc, not a cinematic universe. There was Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and 2 other movies. Which, by the way, those 2 other movies, their plot lines were completely stolen for Infinity War and Endgame's plots. I'm not going to go into full detail since I don't have it written down. I don't feel looking up, but you guys can go search up on your own maybe sometime. And also, from what I've seen, even though it didn't start out like the MCU and have the solo movies with Batman and Wonder Woman first, and then the assembly line point. I thought it still worked out pretty well. They managed to do great with it. And besides, the DCEU has recently getting better and handled by better people. Because back then, as I said, it was handled by wrong people. And no, I'm not talking about Zack Snyder and David Ayer, because they did it pretty well. Their movies were just done dirty, okay? It's as I said before, Jeff Johns, Joss Whedon, and Warner Bros., who completely destroyed divisions and made the movies and created and completely butchered the movies to a very worse version that almost destroyed the franchise. And for years, the DC fans have been getting trash talk. They've been made fun of, and not just by fans, but by bloggers, articles, verified people on Twitter. It's insane. We were the victims here, and even though I wasn't there this entire time, now that I'm on their side, I can emphasize. And what I mean by bloggers and stuff, a lot of CBM bloggers and journalists are very biased when it comes to Marvel and DC. Like, for example, this is what someone pointed out one time. When people were campaigning for James Gunn to get rehired in 2018, bloggers were like, "This is great. They are wonderful fans. They just want him back. They really love him so much." And then when people wanted Spider-Man back in MCU, they were like, "This is amazing. They just want Spider-Man. They love Spider-Man. He is an asset to the franchise." But, watch this. When people campaigned for the Snyder Cut to get released, bloggers were like, "This is bullying and harassment. They're just bullying a company. How dare you?" You see? It's also been alleged that Civil War completely borrowed the plot of Batman vs. Superman. Some people probably think that Batman vs. Superman copied Civil War, but I mean, it feels like the other way around, because it was originally supposed to be Captain America 3, Serpent Society, or whatever that's about. I never read the comics, as I said. But then when Batman vs. Superman got announced, they changed it to Civil War. Basically, another Avengers movie. They just borrowed a lot of the same elements from Batman vs. Superman, except they just added comedy. Unnecessary comedy. And while Civil War itself in the MCU is pretty good in my opinion, if you compare the two, then I personally think Batman vs. Superman is better. It's got a very complex story. Batman vs. Superman is how world politicians are reacting to a very powerful guy like Superman. He's got a lot of power. He can have the power to destroy civilizations, as seen with Zod's insane world engine. And especially Batman, who fears his power, which is why it's called Batman vs. Superman. Civil War is how Avengers always leave a bunch of mess behind after their fight. And especially in the end of the Avengers, when they're after a battle where so many people probably died, they're like, "Oh yeah, let's go to shawarma and eat something." It's not like millions of people died, they can take care of it. And a bunch of other mess still left behind, so the Sokovia Accords is supposed to keep the Avengers in place, but then it turns to some drama with Steve's ex-boyfriend Bucky. I don't know, it's like after the Bucky incident, the bombing at Vienna, it's like they completely forgot about the Accords and such. It's all about Bucky. And as I said before, by itself is good, but comparing it to Batman vs. Superman, not so well. I'm pretty sure the only reason why I got a lot of hate is because they didn't really understand the movie. It's very complex for a simple Marvel fan's mind. Like a lot of MCU movies, they're pretty simple. And I don't have any hate towards it, but it's just that in terms of complex storytelling, Zack Snyder and the other DCU directors, they do a whole lot better. Because in DC, it's not just on the perspective of superheroes, it's in the perspective of supervillains as well. Like Harley Quinn, for example. That's a good example. And that's also what I meant before when I said the DCEU has variety. And also, another thing I want to mention, MCU fans complain about DC jumping to things too soon, but are you guys gonna mention how you threw Spider-Man into the franchise about about backstory movie of how he started, the Uncle Ben trauma and all that stuff? I'm not trying to trash talk Tom Holland's Spider-Man, I really like it. But I guess it should have started with an origin movie, kind of like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 1 movie, where they showed him getting bit by a spider, learning about his powers, becoming Spider-Man, having to deal with Uncle Ben's death and all that, you know? Why I don't see anyone complaining about that, huh? Well, that's what I thought. And as I said before, I'm not trying to trash talk Marvel. I don't hate Marvel. I love Marvel. It's just hypocritical how MCU fans complain about a bunch of DCEU flaws when the MCU also had similar flaws as well. Like the 8 years later plot hole in Spider-Man Homecoming. And the fact there's a lot of comedy. I don't have a hate towards comedy. It's just that Marvel always has it every 5 seconds, which really ruins the serious mood. Well, it's not like that in DC. It does have comedy, but just at appropriate times. Also, as I said before, people rate non-CBMs based on two things the MCU has: humor and color. Since the MCU is full of humor and color, there are fans and critics who use this format to judge other movies, which is not right. Like, for example, when Tenet first came out, there was an article who disliked Tenet due to lack of humor. I'm like, what? I mean, come on. Not every movie has to be like MCU. It's like people act like that the MCU created cinema. I'm like, no. Or it created a franchise. I said before, no. To me, it was Star Wars that created a cinematic franchise. Since it completely changed cinema forever with all this cinematic special effects. And the world building is super insane at the time. And the fact that it took in a lot of hard work. Also, a fan on Twitter dislikes the Dune trailer due to lack of color. It's like, what? Why do people complain about this stuff? It's the director's decision on whether or not they want color or humor. Just let them do what they want. Do you really want a serious movie to have Marvel humor every 5 seconds? No, that will ruin it, you know? Also, you know about that Netflix movie, The Devil of All Time, with Tom Holland, Sebastian Stan, and Robert Pattinson? A critic complained that Tom Holland didn't act like Spider-Man. I'm serious, guys. Someone actually said this. Why do you have to base it all on the MCU? And besides, Tom Holland is called an actor for a reason. Isn't it good that he doesn't act like Spider-Man in that? With the humor and stuff? It's a good thing. That means he's a good actor. I mean, come on, people always fan cast Tom Holland and everything. I know the fan casting is unrelated, but it's weird. It's like in their minds, since the MCU created cinema, it's like in their minds, Tom Holland is the only teenage-looking actor in all of Hollywood. That's what goes on in their minds, probably. It's either Tom Holland gets cast into any teenager in all of existence, or Scarlett Johansson, who's the most completely diverse woman in all of the world. You see what I did there? Oh my god. That's just hilarious. But as I said before, I don't hate the MCU. I just really hate how people use the format of the MCU to judge other movies, whether it's CBM or not. It's just no. And as I said before, the DCEU is getting better. I mean, come on, we've moved completely past the point where where there were videos that were like, what went wrong with DCEU? Why the DCEU is going downhill? And blah blah blah. And what's even worse is that people always harass Zack Snyder on Twitter. It's mainly the people with verified check marks. It's always them for some weird reason. They just really hate him for some reason. Like almost everything he does. And I totally understand if you don't like Zack Snyder's movies. I mean, we all have different opinions. I like Zack Snyder's movies. But there are people who really hate him to an extreme extent. Just because he made a movie they didn't like. And what I really hate is how they mock his daughter's suicide. And his daughter's suicide is the reason why Zack had to leave. And then because he left, Warner Bros. Went behind his back and butchered his whole movie, got him replaced by Joss Whedon, and created the monstrosity we got in 2017, which, let's just pretend it never existed. I mean, it's not canon. Come on. It doesn't exist. Whenever I say Justice League from now on, I'm not talking about that fake-ass crap. No. I'm talking about the real version, Zack Snyder's version, which is 4 hours long. 4 episodes, so 1 hour each. That is the real deal. The one we got was created by a fake. It's fake, okay? It even looks fake. I mean, come on. Anyway, I'm really glad we're getting his true version in 2021. I also heard that Jared Leto's Joker will return as the Joker in the movie, which I am super excited about. I also hope we get to see Harley Quinn in the movie, but this will be before the breakup in Birds of Prey, of course. Which is good because we also get to see more of Harley and Joker, and hopefully we will, and because of this good news, we will hopefully get the Ayer cut, David Ayer's Suicide Squad, which I think has a really good chance of coming out because David Ayer has recently seen it for the first time in years, and with Jared Leto's return, that could be possible. And I'm really excited for it. Anyway, that was a lot of talking. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I'm going to end it right here. I've been talking a whole lot. And I really hope you enjoyed the podcast. So, I'll see you guys later. Bye!